Good morning, Tawfiq sir.
Hello, sir. Now it is audible, sir.
Yes, sir. You are audible. You can also on your video also. Sir.
One minute.
So, good morning, all the participants of this particular Atal FDP. Our next speaker, Dr. Mohammad Tawfiq sir from MNIT Bhopal is with us, and they will deliver his talk on the topic 3D printing and AM processes. So first of all, I would like to invite sir as well as introduce Dr. Mohammad Tawfiq sir to all the participants. Dr. Mohammad Tawfiq is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering of Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology, Bhopal. He has received his PhD in the field of additive manufacturing from PDPM Indian Institute of Information Technology, Design and Manufacturing, Jabalpur. His research work on additive manufacturing, 3D printing has been published in reputed international and national journals. He is also serving as a principal investigator of a project titled Development of a Pallet and Filament Formed Integrated Multi-Material Co-extruder system for improved additive manufacturing processes. And this project has been sponsored by SERB DST under its Startup Research Grant SRG scheme. Earlier, he had served as a senior research fellow at PDPM Triple ITDM Jabalpur on SERB DST project. His research includes CAD/CAM, additive manufacturing, 3D printing, rapid prototyping and tooling, microfabrications in manufacturing, micro and nano finishing, and general machining engineering design. So I request Dr. Mohammad Tawfiq to deliver his talk in our esteemed FDP at LNCT Bhopal.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me. And again, I'm congratulating all the organizing member for the organizing such FDP. So, can I share my PPT?
Just a minute, sir. I'm making you co-host. After that, you can make share your screen. Now you can share your screen, sir.
Okay. Now it is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes. It is visible.
Okay. Good morning, all of you. Today I'm going to deliver my talk on the 3D printing and additive manufacturing processes. So here we will start with the basic concept of additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So as we know, additive manufacturing is a layer by layer part fabrication process. So whenever we are talking about the additive manufacturing process, it is basically the layer to the 3D part fabrication process. So we are converting layer into the 3D volume. And this process is also known as the layered manufacturing, sometimes digital part fabrication process. Different names are coming. However, it is started with the rapid prototyping name in late 80s. And from prototype development, nowadays it is creating part. Okay, that is, we are utilizing in the direct part application process. So that is the big thing nowadays from the additive manufacturing. We are utilizing this particular additive manufacturing process in the direct part fabrication. Means the production grade part we can generate. That's why it is known as the additive manufacturing processes. Earlier, we are utilizing it for the prototyping or not the industrial grade product directly that can be utilized. So we are termed as the layer manufacturing 3D printing. Now, why this particular technique is so important in the current scenario? Whenever we are going to see different situations, like nowadays we have this disaster management due to this COVID-19. So all we know that this is the one of the virus that affected whole world. So people are coming with the very good ideas. Whenever we are talking about 3D printing, anyone can think something and quickly it can relate this particular thing into the reality. So you can see here, anyone can come up with a different type of ideas. For example, this particular face shield printed by the company Newsa, which is situated in the Nagpur. Okay, so frontline workers, you can see from this figure that is taken from this Newsa website. So easily we can print the face shield and then we will provide to the frontline warriors to prevent this coronavirus. So people are coming with the novel ideas. Here in Manit also we have developed with the help of the 3D printers some lower cost ventilator. We have printed plenty of part of this particular ventilator through the 3D printing. Apart from this, I have also completed 2 projects here. Other project is related to the development of the 3D printed arm or elbow operated water tap handles. So as we know now, the water tap handle are very prone towards the infection. People are going to utilize this in a common washroom and there is a more chances of infection. So what we can do, we need to minimize this spreading. How we are trying to understand through this project. So I have added some video for you. You can see here, and this particular video is also going to cover how we are going to utilize the 3D printing process. So now we can see here, whenever we are talking about the additive manufacturing process, it starts with the CAD model. So we need to first draw a CAD model, some idea we have, and then we are going to convert into the CAD modeling. So this is the design one. So in this project, we have developed 2 different designs that can easily set on the water tap. So this is the design number 2. So first of all, in the 3D printing process, it starts with the CAD model. So we need to convert this CAD model. And then this data we need to send after some pre-processing to the machine. So this is the one of the small entry-level additive manufacturing machines, for example, 3D printers we have here. So whatever we have the design, we can quickly go and print it. This is the layer by layer part fabrication, and once we are going to print it, we can see here these are the 2 models. Just we have seen the CAD model, and then what we can do, we can install this particular thing on the water tap. So instead of opening through the hand, now we can open it through the arm. So we have installed here in the menu also. So here see, you can open with the arm instead of hand, and the same time we can also operate this particular thing with the elbow. Okay, so direct contact we can prevent somehow. So this type of innovative idea you can come with this additive manufacturing. So whatever you are going to think, quickly you can convert into the reality. This is the main benefit of this particular technology, like the conventional manufacturing process, where we have dependent on the different people. Okay, for example, if you are going for the casting, we need to create the mold. Okay, through the pattern, we need to create some pattern. Conventionally, we have the wood pattern, and then we need to calculate the different shrinkage allowances. And then after, depending on so many person, we need to buy the appropriate tools, and then we can go for this type of casting or sometime machining process. But here in the room itself, it is also known as the desktop printing. You can buy a printer, you can put on the desktop, and quickly by yourself you can create any part. So idea you can create into the reality with this particular technology. This is the beauty of this particular 3D printing. That is the reason people are more and more attracting towards this particular technology. Nowadays, in industry 4.0, we are utilizing this particular additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So you have come across with this type of application also, face masks. And this is one of the very early application of 3D printing in this COVID-19 situation, ventilator splitter. In early days of this particular COVID-19, we've gone through this particular news. So whenever we require more than 2 person or multiple person through the single ventilator, we can utilize this splitter. So different type of application we have seen, and this is the reason why the people are more going towards this field in the additive manufacturing. So if we are going to classify this particular additive manufacturing or 3D printing, there are different classifications. Based on that, you can classify it. There are some standard classification. Here, what I did, I have covered this particular classification of additive manufacturing based on the material utilized. For example, if anyone is going to utilize the material in the form of liquid, if we have the input material in the form of liquid, we can classify whole set of that particular additive manufacturing or 3D printing processes as a liquid based. If we have the material in the form of the powder in initial stage, so we can classify as a powder based additive manufacturing process or 3D printing process. Similarly, the same concept goes to solid based. If we have the material in the form of the solid or wire, we can classify as a solid based additive manufacturing process. So this particular additive manufacturing start with stereolithography in late 80s, and then this technology evolving, and now we have the different type. Nowadays we can print even the glass. So based on this classification, liquid based we have the stereolithography, powder based selective laser sintering, and solid based is the fluid deposition modeling. These are the very popular additive manufacturing processes. So based on this, we are going to classify first of all, and then we will try to understand from the basic concept how we can utilize the 3D printing or additive manufacturing processes in its optimum way. So we can utilize in a proper way. It is not a simple printing. Anything you are coming and putting that file and going to print it. There are proper physics behind it, how we need to print it. We will discuss in our coming slides. So first is the solid waste we are going to cover here, the fluid deposition modeling. Nowadays, people are also calling it, this particular name is given by the Stratasys. This is the company situated in the America. So copyright name, this one. So nowadays, people are calling this technology as a fused filament fabrication due to some copyright issue. So we will try to understand what is this fluid deposition modeling through some animation. So I have added some animation for you people, so it will be helping to understand. So anyone please reply to whether the voice is coming from our from this video or not. Anyone please reply.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible.
Oh, okay. Video from video.
So you can play first of all.
No voice is coming from video.
Voice is coming from video or not?
No, sir.
No, sir. No.
No.
Voice is not coming from video.
Okay. So let me explain it. So this is the FDM machine. Okay, we are utilizing it also for the production grade part fabrication. There are different type of machine which are generating by the Stratasys company. So here, see here, the close view. This is the two nozzle we have here from this particular video. You can observe, and this through two nozzle we are going to extrude the material. Depend upon the feature of the material. Now, for example, if we have any overhang feature, so to provide the support to this particular overhang feature, we need to extrude other material, that is the support material, instead of the model material. So two material we required, one by which we are going to print it, and one by which we are going to provide support to the overhang features. So after fabricating it, we can going to remove that particular overhang feature from that particular initial base model. So that's why we have the two nozzle here. So see here. So see here, layer by layer. In a plane, it is going to print the material. So see here, in XY plane or build platform, this is going to generate the part. So see here. So here we need to understand, once we have the CAD model, we need to slice it. Slice it means we need to provide the data in the form of planar, okay, in 2D geometry. So what we need to do now, whatever 3-dimensional object we have, we need to slice it, and each planar geometrical data we need to pass to the machine one by one. In each slice, we are going to generate the toolpath for each slice, and that particular thing it is going to read by the machine. And based on that, we are going to print the part. So this is the slice model of the CAD, particular CAD model. We have gone through the previous video now, where we have seen that particular CAD model. After modeling that particular thing, we need to go for the slicing. And slicing, for the slicing, we have the different type of open source and paid softwares by which we are going to utilize this slicing concept. And those who are doing research in this field, they can write down their own code through which they can slice it. Okay, so there are 3 different alternatives: open source, paid, or you can generate by yourself also. So first of all, we need to go for the slicing. See here. So here we have whatever the 3D CAD data, we need to slice it and convert into the layer format. Once we have that particular data, now we are going to transfer it into the machine. This is the machine. Here we have the 2 spools. Okay, one is for the model material, another one is for the support material. So see here, through this animation, we are trying to understand. This is the nozzle assembly, 2 wire spool and with 2 nozzle. So see here how this material is going to pass through the nozzle. Okay, through some feeding mechanism, we need to provide some feeding mechanism through which it is going to pass to the nozzle. In between them, in between the nozzle and the wire spool, we have some sort of feeding mechanism. And then after, through this feeding mechanism, it is going to feed this wire to the nozzle. So here, see here the internal view. We have the build material by which we are going to build the part. Second with the support material by which we are going to provide the support to the overhang features, otherwise it is going to topple down. Third one is the driving wheel through which it is going to pass, and it is going to pass through this particular wire to the nozzle, and in between them we have the heater, liquefiers, that is going to heat that particular wire material. So after heating, it is converting into the semi-solid form. So this semi-solid form, it is going to extrude through the nozzle. So see here. So now, once it is going to precisely extrude that particular material, so once it is going to extrude that particular material from the nozzle, okay, it is going to build the part. So see, we are going to see this particular animation. Let us assume this black one is the model material and support one is white one is the support material. Okay, so based on the feature, it is going to extrude sometime both material or sometime only one based on the feature. If vertical feature only, it is going to extrude only black. If we have some sort of inclined, both are going to be extruded. So it depends. So if you are going to see the whole geometry of this particular slice data, see here, this black one represents the actual material. So see here, we have this extruder, extruding nozzle. It is going to build the part layer by layer. So this different color planes are presenting the slice data along that particular plane, and one by one, each slice data is going to pass, and it is going to build the part in that particular manner. Okay, so each time whenever we are going to extrude one layer, okay, one whole layer, it is going to lower down this particular platform, okay, equal to the layer thickness. Okay, once layer extruded, and then platform is going to lower down equal amount. So always that particular height is a constant, and your model is going to build like this. once you are going to complete the whole process, we have the we need to generate the finished part through the this part. So you can observe from here there are what I say support material. Okay, some post processing required. Okay, so you need to take this particular part from the build platform and then break away, simply break away the supports, and you take your part. Or you can, if it is not possible to break away directly, you can put this particular part in the soluble solution. It is going to remove that support from the actual part, and then you can take it out. So see here we have some. So whatever the main thing here, see these are the post processing, and after this sometime we need to go for the hand sanding, because the surface quality is very poor in FDM process, because material is going to extrude through the nozzle. Due to the nozzle, whatever the minimum nozzle diameter, it is going to affect the final part quality. Okay, so sometime we require further finishing operation in post processing phase. Okay, after that we are going to get this type of finished part. Actually this type of what we are able to see here in the screen, this type of part is not generating. We need to go for the post processing. After that we are able to see this type of good surface finished part. So these are the some spools we can see here. And another thing is that we are utilizing the production grade polymeric material. So we can utilize in a different film, from very, for example, socio-cultural to the industrial aspect, we can create the part. So this is the brief introduction for the solid waste or FDM. See here, after post processing, we are able to find out this type of part. So it is going to cover all different field, means from the very basic to the aerospace and different industrial aspects. So this is the solid waste additive manufacturing technology. Now second one, if you are going to see, second one is the selective laser sintering. So whenever we are talking about a powder based technology, we have the selective laser sintering. Okay, this is a very famous one. Here what we are going to do now, instead of utilizing material in the solid form, in this SLS technology, we are going to utilize the material in the form of powder. You can see here on this platform, we have the material powder, which is already spreaded on, uniformly spreaded on the platform. Okay, and here we are going to utilize the different type of a powder particle from different material. We are going to quickly generate different composite also, and due to this reason their part is more applicable in different application sectors, from metal to metal composites and then plastic. You can go with this particular technology very easily. Okay. Okay, so these are the some parts. So this particular process also going to start. See here, this process is also going to start with the CAD modeling. Once we are going to complete the CAD modeling, you need to slice the data for each layer. So see here, we have some animation. This is the slice data. Okay, each cross sectional information we are going to store in the form of toolpath. Okay, and you need to send to the machine. So here you can observe we have the build platform. Here we have the roller through which we are going to spread the powder particle on the build platform. See here. Okay, and then we have the laser power source, and through which we are going to sinter that powder particle. So here in the previous one, what we have gone through, we have the material which is going to extrude through nozzle, and that semi-solid material is going to make a neck. Okay, but here joining process is depend upon the sintering. Whatever the powder particle we have, their outer periphery is going to sintered only. It is not completely going to mix. Only it is going to sintered at the outer periphery through the control energy passing through this particular laser source, CO2 laser source. See, this is the laser source. And then this particular laser going to scan that particular surface, and each time after scanning, material is going to spread on it. Again, material is going to spread, and again laser is going to scan that particular cross section. Okay. Once we are going to complete one single layer or one single slice information, the part build chamber is going to lower down equal amount of that particular layer thickness. So what it is going to happen? It is going to maintain a constant height on platform, and it is going to build the part in layer fashion. Okay, and this process is going to repeat again and again, and it is going to build any three-dimensional part. Once we have completed this SLS process, we are going to take it out for the post processing. This part we are going to take it out for the post processing. Again, we need to go for the different type of post processing operation to maintain the required surface characteristics and other issues. Okay. So this process we are going to utilize in the different application sectors. See here we can see automobiles, architectures. Here we have, okay, and different application sector we can utilize it. So this is the selective laser sintering. So what we have gone through here, we are utilizing in SLS powder particle, and it is going to sinter through the laser source, with energy coming through the laser source. Now third one is the stereolithographic, which is also known as the SLA. So here in the SLA, what we are going to do, we are going to utilize photosensitive polymeric materials that is going to, whenever we are going to expose this material in the light, it is going to cure. Okay. So here we have the photosensitive polymeric material that is going to cure when we are going to provide the ultraviolet light source on it. Sorry. So you can see here, because material we are going to using in the form of liquid, the surface quality is very good in this particular SLS, and similar to other processes, what we have gone through the two different processes here also in SLA, it also start with the CAD model, and then we need to go for the slicing. See here, this is a slice data. Once we have the slice data, we are going to send this particular slice data or tool path information to the machine. And here machine begins to build the part, okay, the similar fashion layer by layer. Each layer is going to cure through this UV laser, okay. This UV laser is going to provide the UV light source, and through which it is going to cure, okay, layer is going to cure. Once this particular layer completed, again we are going to spread the liquid material, and then again we are going to complete the curing process through this UV light source. We are going to repeat this process one by one, okay. By doing so, it is going to complete whole process, whole part, okay. Once it is going to completed, you can see here we can need to go for the post processing, and this support we are going to remove, okay. And sometime it is possible due to curing, the proper curing is not provided for the very complex or internal features. So again we need to go for the heating process. So it is going to more cure. After doing all this thing, we are going to take the part, and then after some post processing, we are going to utilize this part in the different industrial applications. From domestic use to the industrial use, you can utilize this process. So this is a brief introduction of 3D printing or additive manufacturing processes. Now there is something that we need to remember here. that whenever we are going to start this particular process, we need to generate a CAD model. So here we are going to understand what steps we required in 3D printing or additive manufacturing process. So by which we are going to understand this process in a more detailed manner. So see here, this is the steps. So first of all, we have some sort of idea and through which we are going to create a CAD model. Okay, so first step is the solid model generation from some computer-aided design software or geometrical modeling software like the CATIA, Pro-E, and Creo, and like this, SolidWorks, Unigraphics. And once we have the CAD model, we are going to convert this CAD model in the STL file format. STL stands for stereolithography format, or sometimes also known as the standard tessellation language. So why it is called as the standard tessellation language? Because whenever we have the surface model, we have created this particular surface with any curve, bezier, B-spline, and all these things. But what we need to do in the slicing process, we need to supply this particular CAD model in a STL file, because whatever software we have, that software, whatever we have open source or paid, that is basically built based on the STL file format. Means data generally they are asking in the form of the STL file format, and STL file format is the de facto standard. So here what we need to do, whatever the CAD model we have, now first we need to convert into the piecewise triangular approximation. So whatever data we have, first we need to convert into the piecewise triangular approximation. And this piecewise triangular approximation data we are going to store like a vertices and they are normal. Vertices to understand where it is, and normal it is going to represent the orientation of that particular facet. So in STL file we have only two information. One is the triangle information, and other is the how it is oriented. Unit surface normal vector data is given in that particular STL file format. Unlike the STEP or IGS, there are different type of information also there, but here we are only concentrating on two information only. One is the STL, one is the coordinate of the triangles, and other one is the outer normal information for that facet, by which we can understand whether it is oriented in which direction. And once we have this STL file format, there is a chances whenever we are going to convert from one file format to another file format, there is always chances of some error generation during this conversion process. So there is the overlapping of facet or round off error, or some gaps are generated. There are plenty issues are coming. So what we need to do now, once we have completed the STL format translation, what we need to do, we need to check whether it is converted properly or not. So how we are going to check? There are the different software through which you can check it, like the Magic software. Magic is very popular software. If you are going to import this data, and if you are going to import the STL data in the Magic software, and if you are going to fix that error, there is some button for the fixing of error. If you are going to click it, it will going to show you whether your STL file is free from error or not. If there is any error in that particular file, there is a different option through which we are going to remove that particular error. Once we have verified the STL file, we will go for the parameter settings. Means there are different parameters like the orientation, how we are going to orient our part. Okay. So apart from that, what should be the layer thickness for slicing? What will be the internal hatching pattern? So means different type of parameter we have in short. So whenever we are going to talk about this parameter setting, we need to take care very carefully. We need to select the parameter, and then if you are after parameter setting, if you are going to see this model in parameter setting step, I have changed the orientation of this particular model also. So for example, in one orientation, it might possible that it required more support structure. In other orientation, it might be less supportive. So based on that, we need to select the different parameter, whatever your constraint, and then after setting this parameter, we need to go for the slicing. Once we will set the parameter for the slicing, we are going to slice it. We are going to convert this STL file into the we are going to slide this STL file for the cross-sectional information or planar information, and at that particular orientation, if support required, then we need to generate the support also. And tool path definition. See, tool path, if you are going to see or remember our previous slide, what we have gone through, we have seen in that FDM, solid base, where we are utilizing nozzle. And here in SLS, selective laser sintering, we are utilizing the laser source, CO2 laser source. And in other one, we are going to utilize the UV light. So means based on the energy source, how it is going to trace the path. Okay. So we need to generate tool path definition in different manner. In FDM, based on the nozzle diameter, we need to create the tool path. In SLS or SLA, we need to create tool path based on the laser spot. Okay. So if you are going to see up to the slicing, all the steps we are going to apply in all additive manufacturing processes. Okay. But in the support generation, tool path definition, if you are going to remember, in SLS, in selective laser sintering, in powder, unsintered powder particle is going to work as a support material. So we don't require the extra tool path information for support in SLS. Okay, so we don't require support in SLS because the unsintered powder is going to utilize as a support. But in FDM and SLA, we generate the support. So up to the slicing, the steps are common, and then based on the tool path definition, from here we are going to change. Based on the, we are going to change the strategy based on the which additive manufacturing process we are going to utilize. And once based on the particular additive manufacturing, we have generated our tool path, and then we will send to the machine. So here, after machine sending, we are going for the additive fabrication. So based on the machine, that additive fabrication facility is also different. And then based on the fabricated part, which type of processing required, and part removal, cleaving, support is there or not. So based on that, we need to go for the post processing. So this is the what I say, the basic steps of the any additive manufacturing processes. If you are going to see one thing here, each step is affected by the its previous steps. Means if you have not selected in a proper manner this setting, if this parameter setting is not proper, if orientation is like this here, angle is theta, for example, orientation is angle is theta. Due to this, all the succeeding step is going to affected by this orientation. Might be in this orientation support is more. Okay, so more support material, more slicing information we need to store due to the more support, and then more tool path generation strategy we need to apply here, and then we need to go for the part fabrication with the different type of support structure. So whatever we are going to do in the each step, it is going to affect the next step. So each step you need to select in additive manufacturing process with proper concentration. Which type of output we required. For example, your output is mainly related to the strength. For example, you required more strength part. So the surface quality is not good. The surface quality is not your main motto. Okay. So what we can do, we can select that parameter which is going to affect only strength, and based on that we are going to affect the succeeding steps of the additive manufacturing process. So you need to think for each step. If you are going to utilize each step in a very proper manner, you are going to utilize your additive manufacturing or 3D printing machine in a better way. So we need to design each and every step. Okay. So always whenever we are talking the additive manufacturing, we need to think about the design for additive manufacturing also. Okay. How we are going to design each and every step. So we are going to utilize the material in a more proper form, and how we can reduce the cost. There is a proper physics behind it. So we are trying to understand how we are going to take care of all these steps in 3D printing or additive manufacturing. So before going that, I'm going to discuss some issue also, so you can easily correlate. So for which we are going to see. For example, whenever we are going for the additive manufacturing, this is the layer by layer part fabrication technique. See here, layer by layer. If we have any inclined part, it is going to slice and it is going to build the part like this. So always there is loss of information. This triangular thing is showing the loss of information here. See here, this is the loss of information. Loss of information we are going to observe. So this particular way of fabricating part in additive manufacturing, like this stair line, it is known as the staircase effect. Okay, so always this staircase effect is always with the inclined or curved surfaces, and it is going to affect. We cannot completely remove this particular thing. For vertical surface, we don't have this staircase effect, but vertical surface also. For example, if this is the vertical surface, due to the filament, for example, if you are talking about the additive manufacturing, in this plane we are going to get this type of information loss or voids, gaps. So always some sort of constraint is coming. Okay, and in most of the researcher trying to correlate this particular thing with the actual geometry. So whatever the distance, from the cusp to the surface, the perpendicular distance, it is known as the cusp height, through which they are trying to relate. The cusp height, if lower, then it is the more better choice for printing. Volumetric error, if we are going to see in a hole, what are the different issue that is going to affect, and by which this volumetric error is happening in your model, we are going to see in a hole the volume loss of the material and information is known as the volumetric error. At the same time, if you are going to see, if we need to generate this type of spherical part, okay, so this spherical part we are going to create in a 3 different combination. Either the part created by additive manufacturing is completely oversized. One minute. Okay. My voice is audible? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can continue.
So here we have the different approximation. For example, if we're going to see, either your part is going to build completely inside or outside type of approximation of the layers. Sometimes it is completely outside approximation we can get, or completely inside. The same part we can create in a 3 different situations, and due to which we are going to affected by the final quality. So here extra part we are going to get, either sometime we are going to get the whatever dimension we required lesser than that. So some accuracy issue also. How we are going to cope up with this situation also the very big issue in the 3D printing or additive manufacturing. So we need to think on the each and every step. If we are going to think on each and every step in a proper manner, we are going to control this issue, okay, in up to a maximum extent. Okay, so sometimes it is not possible to completely remove or completely eliminate these issues. What we can do, we can control as much as possible. Okay, so this is the these are the some constraints. So why we are going to understand. So we need to take a decision. Okay, so each process step we need to design as a decision making process. For every problem we need to design a solution. Means for each and every step, we need to take some decision. How we are going to utilize this particular step in a proper way. We need to design in a proper way. So the overall thing is known as the design for additive manufacturing. Okay. So whenever we are talking the printing of the part, we need to think on it also. So one by one, we are going to see some examples through which we are going to understand how we are going to control these steps. Okay. The first one is the, whenever we are talking about the additive manufacturing, it starts with the STL file. Okay. So how we can going to optimize this STL file, we need to think on it. Okay. We need to think about the STL file optimization also. Okay. So for example, here we have the some sort of object A, some washer type of object we have. Whenever we are going for the STL translation, the piecewise triangular approximation, if you are going to see, so this much amount of the information is going to lose through this STL conversion. Okay. So this distance between the curve and this STL approximation is known as the Caudal effect. Okay. So how we are going to minimize this? If we are going to minimize this, we are going to get the more smoother or more accurate part fabrication. We are going to move towards. Okay. So see here, this is the actual CAD geometry. If you are going to change the resolution of this particular STL file, or piecewise triangular approximation, if you are going to take very small triangles, okay, so it is going to cover the whole geometry in a more proper way. Okay. But at the same time, if you are going to take STL file, very small STL file for the approximation, it is going to cover all the things, but the file size is very large file size, so it will take the more time for processing, more material. Okay. If we are going to take in between some porous type of medium type of triangular approximation, the file size is going to be less, lower material is going to take, but we have more error in this printed part. Here we have the less error. Okay. So randomly we cannot only translate in the STL file based on your requirement. For example, the part quality or aesthetics is very important for your final prototype or actual part. So we can go for the more fine STL approximation. So we can minimize the loss of information. If only you need to create something for the demonstration, the strength matters more. So we can go for the other approximation also. Based on your requirement, you need to take some decisions. Okay. And if you are doing so, it is known as the design for additive manufacturing. Okay. Then second one, what I told you, that we have the different type of softwares for the additive manufacturing, starting from the free online software we have also, and open source software we have also, like the Cura is very famous one, and then we have the paid softwares also, like the Magix is very powerful software, so we can utilize. If you are not utilizing the correct software also, we are going to not utilize our additive manufacturing process in a proper way. So there are some report also we have in the literature that due to the people are not utilizing the software in a correct way, they are not exploring this additive manufacturing capability in a full scale. So here we have the different type of softwares. To understand the capability of the softwares, I have added some video recording for the Cura software. This is the free software, so I have added. So there is no issue of licensing here. So I have added some sort of video how to utilize this Cura software. Okay. So this video I have created for this lecture. So see here, this is the Cura. This type of logo is coming for the Cura software. Once you are going to install and we are going to open it, their graphical user face, it is going to look like this one, something like this. This is the graphical user interface for the Cura software. Okay, and I have written here some sort of comments. So quickly I will remove this. So here, for example, you have imported your STL file here. And you have created some STL file and simply imported. So whatever the coordinate, based on that, it is going to place anywhere in the build in this particular Cura environment. Okay, on this build platform. So if you want to change the position, we need to translate it. So quickly here itself you can translate. There are the different options. Some geometrical modeling options are also available here. For example, geometrical transformation we can easily do, like the scaling, rotation. This is this type of translation, this type of operation, and we can easily do here. So see here, if you are going to see, you can see here object. If you are going to move this particular object here and there, you're based on this option. If the geometry is going to move here and there on this platform, and then after translating, we have other option also, scaling. Here itself, you need not to go in the parent software. If you feel that the size is not good, so need not to go again in the geometrical software and you need to reduce the size. Here itself, you can reduce the size. You can see in this particular animation. By putting some value, you can able to uniformly scale up or down, or in particular direction also you are able to scale it. Okay, so these are the capabilities you need to utilize. And then if you are thinking that, see here, different scaling object, if you are going to think to rotate, if you are thinking that at particular orientation we are going to utilize more material, and that is not good, or it is taking more time, or other performance based on your requirement, it is not up to your requirement, this orientation is, you can easily orient the orientation. You need not to go to the parent software. Here itself you are able to rotate it in any direction. Okay, so these are the different features of Cura software or open source software. Apart from this, once you are going to set all these things, you need to go for the parameter setting. For example, layer height, what should be the height of the layer, you need to put based on your machine capability. You need to based on your machine hardware support. You can select the different options, what should be the layer height. Okay, and then different parameter you can set quickly. Okay, and then you can go for the material setting, which material you are going to utilize. For example, ABS, PLA, polylactic acid. Based on that, you are going to change the here. This is the material option. Based on that, this is the material option. Based on that, you are going to select the different temperature. Okay, on what temperature it is going to proceed. So different type of option we have, and through which we are going to complete our part. Okay, sorry. Okay, after this different option we have, and once we are going to set all this option, we can go for the slicing. Okay, see here, this is the window is showing slicing, which is processing here. Once it is going to complete the slicing, you can see here, able to see the slice data. Okay, so see here, once slicing is completed, their sliced approximation data now it is visible at the left side. You can see on the right side we have this bar. It is showing the numbers of layer. If you are going to change this bar, if you are going to height of this bar, it is going to change the height of the slice data, and each and every slice data you are going to visualize. Okay, if you are thinking that the support is higher in particular slice at particular orientation, you can change, or some features are not coming due to the slicing. At particular orientation, it might be possible some feature is losing. Based on that, you can change the orientation. So these are the different type of option. Once you have completed all this slicing, you need to save your data in the G format. Okay, like the CNC machining, we have the GNM code. Here also we have the GMM code, but this GMM code is also utilizing some extra factor like the extrusion parameter in case of the FDM. So we need to generate the toolpath file in G format. Okay, see here, this is the G code, and we need to save it, and then we can go for the part fabrication of FDM machine. This example is related to the FDM. And then third one is the process parameter optimization. So we need to think how we are going to select the different process parameter. For example, if you are going to think on the orientation of the part. For example, if you are going to orient this specimen, dog bone specimen we have, this is the specimen oriented in this direction, and this is the orientation B. And we are going to fill the layer in this direction. Here we have the in perpendicular direction. Along the length, perpendicular to the length. If you are going to apply the force, equal force in both directions, what we think, in which condition it is going to break easily? A or B? Anyone? Any participant? In which condition it is more prone to fracture? Any participant? So if you are going to see here, in condition B, the orientation of the layer is such that it is going to easily delaminate. Okay, so it is always going to give the less strength in this case. Okay, and the strength of A is always greater than the strength of B. So you need to, if the strength is your criteria, you need to think on it, and then you need to select. Similarly, here, if we have the two inclined surface, for example, if we are going to print, okay, on very shallow orientation or very steep, okay, if the layer thickness is same, this is the X, and this is the A orientation, and this is the B orientation. What do you think? In which one it is going to give the more accurate part, in A or B? Anyone? Okay, so you can observe this here in the B situation, more material information is going to do, more stage stepping error due to the more shallow orientation. So we need to take a orientation A for more good part fabrication because it reduces the stair stepping error. So like this, we need to take a proper decision per parameter settings. Okay, so all the time we need to think on the different aspect of additive manufacturing, and then after we can go for the final part fabrication. Okay, so similarly here we have seen the strength and the orientation. One is related to the this strength and other is the surface finish. Both we have related with the orientation. Or similarly, if we need to go for the other parameter like time, okay, so based on that you can change the orientation or different parameter. Okay, so these are the constraints that we need to understand before setting the parameters. Now next thing is the slicing. Okay, once we have set it down the parameter, we need, in the next step we need to go for the slicing. Okay, so let us assume we have this particular object, or we can say we have the same object, and we are going to process in the three different manner or three different way we are going to slice it, the same object. Okay, one approach we are going to utilize the bottom up slicing procedure, another is the top down slicing procedure, and third one is the combined slicing procedure. So what is the meaning of this? See here, first one is the bottom up slicing procedure. This one, first one, bottom up slicing procedure. So here we are going to slice that particular object and store the data like this one from bottom, and here we are going to slice in the second condition, top down. We are going to slice the data from the top and then store the information And if you are going to combine this bottom and top down slicing procedure, you know, we are going to get two different versions of the slice data. If half of the portion, see here, this portion, this half of the portion from here and the half of the portion from bottom up, if we take this half portion, and from top down, if we are going to take half portion from this. Okay, if we are going to combine this and this slicing data, we are going to obtain a completely inside. Otherwise, if you are going to if you are going to combine the data of this side and this side, top down slicing procedure, and combine this, we are going to get the completely oversized part. So in different application you can utilize, you can create a part oversized and then you can machine it to get the desired dimension part. Okay, and sometime if you need to go for the prototype generation or rapid tooling, you can create a mold. Okay, and based on the allowances we can utilize the part. You can create a lower part geometry and then create the mold through this part, and then you can utilize in the casting process as a pattern this one, and then create the part. Okay, so different application, based on the different application requirement, you can select the different slicing procedure. It might be more bottom up, top down, or combined slicing procedure. Okay, so based on the requirement. Anyone have any doubt here?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Okay, okay.
Sir, I want to ask because I'm not understanding from manufacturing point of view, when we are 3D printing this one, how we are slicing, whether we are introducing the material from top and bottom, and the third strategy is from top and bottom both.
So say, listen, whenever we are going for the additive manufacturing processes, most of the time in the most of the software, this top down slicing procedure, in the top down slicing person, they have sliced the data and store, and then it is going to pass to the machine from bottom. Okay, and based on that it is going to create the part. And these two methods, it is methods of the research. If you need to create your own slicing toolpath strategy to complete this type of slicing procedure. In research paper, you can find out this type of slicing procedure. But in the Cura software, in general software, you are not getting, they are providing one type of simple slicing method. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So,
we
again,
will do
again, we will discuss it. Half hour I will going to give you for the discussion. It's small.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I want to know whether the people are listening or not. That's why I asked.
Oh no, sir. I am listening right now, and yeah, I certainly have a doubt.
Okay.
Because this is the procedure of slicing I am understanding, but how we can integrate with the manufacturing point of view, sir?
Yes, yes. I will give the answer of all this thing.
Okay, so you can continue, please.
Now another thing is that half an hour up to one, I will going to complete quickly one, and then half an hour I will give.
You can continue, sir. We will
now
take
next one is
10
the
to 15 minute session.
Yes, yes. Now next one is the related to the support generation. In most of the time, if we are going for the inclined surfaces, okay, if it is passing that particular some sort of critical value of orientation, it is going to require the support. So why it is so? If you are going to see, if two successive layers, these are the two layers. If we are going to see the center of gravity of these two, if these are going to offsetted in such a manner, their toppling effect is more, it is going to topple down. So in this case, we need to create a support here. We need to create a support here. If this center of gravity shifting is not up to that critical value, okay, so the most of the time up to 45, that the distance is not critical, so we don't require the support up to the 45 because it shows self-supporting features. Okay, and in some time, if the center of gravity is very high, so toppling effect is more pronounced, it requires the support. Okay, so we need to provide the support here. Okay. So again, if you are going to provide the support, you need to think a different supporting strategy. Okay. Either you can provide a whole support, and again, if support, how we are going to change the support design, so it can create a very effective geometry, you know, and the same time save the material. This is the area of the research. Okay, so different way to remove this support also we have, you know. There are the soluble support structure or breakaway support structure, already I have gone through, you know. Then next one, in 3D printing or additive manufacturing technology, based if you are going to buy one new 3D printer, okay, so you have options based on this particular additive manufacturing machines. Are either we can go for the liquid, solid, or powder. Okay, so based on the requirement, I have taken one sort of example. If you required a more finished part, okay, so which additive manufacturing we are going to select? Anyone tell me, liquid based, powder based, or solid based? If you require more smoother part, which machine we are going to purchase or select? See here, we have the material in the form of liquid. Okay, so always is having the lesser diameter. So always we are going to get the more good quality or average surface roughness value. RA value is always lesser in this one, liquid based SLA. Okay, here we have the nozzle. Do the nozzle, always it is going to create a more surface roughness. So always we have the RA is very higher. In between them, we have this SLS. Okay, so based on your requirement, you can select different type of machine. Okay, any random machine you cannot create and you cannot buy or select. Okay, it depends. Now, another thing, once you are going to build the part through the additive manufacturing or 3D printing, there is always chances of the post processing. Okay, so different researcher having a different type of arrangement for post processing to improve the quality of the part. Okay, so basically, if you are going to select quality in a term of the surface finish, okay, here, so different methods we have. For example, we have the method of the abrasives. We can utilize the abrasive or chemical finishing. At the same time, we can go for the machining. Okay, or nowadays also people are utilizing the lasers. Okay, in which condition and how we are going to utilize this particular post processing is one of the main constraint. So whenever we are talking about what I say post processing, if you are going to utilize the abrasive particle for the finishing, there is a huge challenge to control the flow of the abrasive. Okay, it is very challenging to control the flow of the abrasive. So what is happening actually? If you are going to finish through the abrasive, the control is not proper. So somewhere, one minute. One minute. So what is the main, what I told, abrasive? Na? So in the abrasive, whenever we are going to talk about the use of the abrasive, na, it is taking more time because the abrasive particle is a very fine, small particle, and you need to pass it over and over again on the through this particular workpiece. So you are not able to control the flow of the abrasive. If you are minutely you want to finish that any particular region, so it is very hard. So this is the one of the very good research objective might be those who are working on this field, how to control the flow of the abrasive. Okay, and other thing is the some nowadays people are also utilizing the what I say liquid this chemical based finishing process. Sometimes people are utilizing acetone. it is easily reacting with the polymers, and it is going to react with the polymer, and it is going to give the more smoother surface finish. So also with the chemical finishing also we have the same problem, the flow. To overcome this situation, people are utilizing the CNC machine, because in the CNC machine it is a predefined toolpath by which you can control the particular region where you want to finish. Okay, but again, what is the main constraint in this what I say in CNC based or machining based processes, that whenever we are going for the machining, we are experiencing very high cutting forces. And if we have very small feature, okay, so there might be chances of damage of that particular feature. Okay, so this is the one of the risks whenever we are going to utilize the what I say machining processes, where the high amount of the forces are generating. And the second one thing also, that whenever we are going to print any part on particular machine, okay, and you are going to take it out and we are going to again clamp on the another machine, there is always chances of that the surface is not going to completely map with the next machine. So flatness is not proper. Once you are detaching one 3D printed part from one machine or 3D printed machine, and then you are again going to clamp on the another machine. So there is chances of the location error. Due to this location error, whenever we are going for the post finishing or machining, we are going to remove in the micron. And due to this location error, there is chances of your flatness is not proper. There is chances of the some inclination may appear, and due to which the proper cutting is not happening. And sometimes it may gouge. To prevent this thing, we need to think how we can control the location error. Okay. So there are the different approach to control the location error also. In this direction, Professor P.K. Jain and I have created a new tool, selective melting tool. Those who are interested, they can go through this particular paper published in the virtual and physical prototyping, one of the Journal of Additive Manufacturing. So here we have created a new type of tool that is going to control that effect of location error. And again, we have utilized first time laser to finish polymeric parts. Okay, because it is going to prevent the high strength during the cutting. That is the main constraint. And the same time, due to the small diameter of the laser, you can go for the any a small feature. Okay, you can go for the any small feature, and you can easily what I say finish the part. Okay, so these are the main advantage of the laser based finishing process, but it is costly. This is the another constraint which is associated. Okay, and the same time you can go for your research in the laser finishing also. This is a relatively new area in additive manufacturing. So these are the some guidelines related to the this design for additive manufacturing for your this additive manufacturing or 3D printing. So here in the brief, what I want to tell you, whenever we are going for utilizing additive manufacturing process, you need to understand its all steps, and then take the unique advantage of this additive manufacturing or RP technology. You need to understand the process step. And sometimes we cannot remove the inherent restrictions in additive manufacturing, like the stage stepping error. We can't remove it, but we can minimize it. Okay, it is only possible if you are going to clearly understand the each and every step. Okay, and once you can understand this additive manufacturing or 3D printing machine in a proper way, then once you are going to understand this process in a proper way, then you can explore this particular thing in the different application sectors. So nowadays, due to the generation of different type of materials, and people are more active towards this technology, it is ranging from prototyping to the direct part manufacturing. Okay, so see here, we have started with the plastic. Nowadays we are printing the what I say glass. In 2015 in MIT, they have printed glass through the glass printing, 3D printing machine. You can see here, this is the optically transparent glass. Okay, So for some fashion industry and other application also, for the lens creation you can go for the 3D printer. So from this very prototype to the direct part fabrication. So we are going to understand quickly. In prototype development, we are utilizing it in a different socio-cultural aspect or study of the aspect you can cover for the learning process. See a different type of, for example, this type of structure you can print, and to visualize the this particular pattern, you can print the part through the 3D printer with different color also, and each and every, for example, whatever the result from the NC software you are getting a colorful result, you can import that particular data through some processing to the additive manufacturing, and through the color printer you can print it and visualize in a more proper way. So different type of application nowadays. If you have some sort of assembly you need to check, you can go for the assembly printing, the printing of the assembled this individual component, and then you can go for the assembly, and you can understand whether your mechanism is working properly or not. For as a prototype you can understand. So different type of prototype applications here. Some students from the Italy, they have printed bicycle also for their prototyping study. Then rapid tooling. In rapid tooling, it is more towards the production grade application of additive manufacturing. So here what we are going, indirectly we are utilizing this additive manufacturing process. What we are going to do here, we are going to create patterns with the help of different additive manufacturing process. Conventionally we are utilizing the wood for the creation of the pattern, and then we are creating the molds. Okay, but here what we are going, with the help of different materials we are going to generate the pattern, and instead of utilizing what I say wood pattern as a master pattern, we are utilizing nowadays this one also. And nowadays we are utilizing the BAX pattern also, BAX 3D printing machines also. So we are utilizing it to create a BAX pattern in investment casting, like the conventional processing. We are going to utilize this. See here, this is the CAD model of some complicated in jewelry application. We have gone through this investment costing process in conventional manufacturing processes. Due to the, we have the VEX 3D printer also. 3D printing of VEX pattern is also possible with the 3D printing machine. So this is the VEX pattern created by this what I say 3D printer. And then what we are doing with the conventional wood pattern like this, the same concept goes for this 3D printed wax pattern. We are utilizing it. We are going to coating, dewaxing, and all this thing, and then we are going to obtain the final product. And wax is going to drain out, and then we are going to take our original part like the investment casting process. So rapid tooling, basically we are creating a master pattern, and based on the quality of pattern for 100, 150 shots, we can create, utilize, and then create a different type of mold, and we can go for the sometime 150 and sometime only one shot we can create. It depends upon the different application. And then direct part manufacturing. Whenever we are talking about the direct part manufacturing, means whatever we are printing directly utilizing in Protect. So here in additive manufacturing, people are utilizing in the medical, okay, for surgical guide or some implant we are utilizing. Nowadays it is very what I say, it is very popular. It is very popular in the additive medical field. Okay, and nowadays due to the different materials generation, the food grade material, we are also printing food, different type of cakes. We can create with the different feature. You can write down your name, or you can change the ingredients. Okay, as per your requirement, layer by layer. A different composition we can set. You can change the taste at particular layer. So different type of innovative ideas are coming. It is only possible if you understand the 3D or additive manufacturing process in its full capacity, so you can utilize in a proper way. Then this application sectors is going to open for you, and you can explore this this what I say technology in a more proper manner. Okay. Now these are the some another examples what I say for the additive manufacturing. See here solar powered 3D, some component for the solar powered 3D printers. They have printed pressure housing in underwater application. Then engine sorry printed by this. In some actuators, some lithium iron battery also they have printed. So different type due to the development in the material or understanding of this process in different application sector. Other interdisciplinary approaches are also evolving. Okay, and these are the some references. So here what we can do whenever in short this particular whole thing in additive manufacturing or 3D printing, what we need to do whenever we are talking about this additive manufacturing or 3D printing processes, we need to take a proper decision in each and every step. Once you will understand each and every step, after that you are able to explore this particular technology in a more proper way. Okay, and here you need to go for the new software. There are some research that I have explored with you people. You can, those who are interested in doing the research, they can do. Okay, and these are my details. If anyone want to contact to me for any related issue, they can contact to me. Okay, thank you. Now this session is open for question and answer.
I request the participants to ask the relevant questions as per related to this talk. Anybody has any query, you can post your query or questions in the chat box, or you can directly ask, sir. We have sufficient time. Anybody has any doubt, any question? Which sir has explained.
Now we have half an hour for the question answer. If
Yes,
anyone have any doubt, so like that I have quickly completed this, so we can have more time for the discussion for half an hour.
sir, have you done any FEM simulation work of this additive manufacturing processes?
Recently, I have gone through some FEM work related to the nozzle. Conventionally, we have the different type of nozzle that is heat dissipating through the fins. So the fins design, if you are going to change, then it is going to affect the heat dissipation quality, and due to this overheating problem of another component, we can reduce. So recently, I have published one paper. If those who are know the
which software sir you have used?
This is the NC software.
Okay.
Workbench. So basically, you can go for the different application. For example, an isotropic property in case of additive fabrication process. Now, those who are interested in doing research by integrating this analysis and plus additive manufacturing, they can think on the anisotropic property derivation in the additive manufacturing process, and this is a better field. So different software we have.
Yes, the slides will be shared by me. After this program, we will share the slides. Sir, I request you to share your slide to email to me.
Okay, I will check the possibilities.
Sir, I also want to know, because you have shown us the fundamental aspects of this 3D printing and slicings also. So which are the softwares which you have used for 3D printing?
Actually, I have utilized the Magic software, but Magic is very costly, around 10 to 12 lakhs minimum.
Is there any open source?
Open source,
we can
Cura.
Cura. Cura software.
That's why I have added that particular software demo in my slide also, Cura software.
So it is online available, sir?
Yes, online. You can download it and go for your learning. Some basics I have gone through in this particular lecture also.
So can you show me that slide in which you have shown
This is the Cura software.
So one participant has asked, Mr. Santosh Patel has asked, what are the major drawbacks of integrating FEM and additive manufacturing process? Actually, I don't.
Acha, acha. What is the major drawback?
Actually, FEM is applied to remove the drawbacks.
Please repeat the question. So
Okay, okay. The question is that from Santosh Patel, what are the major drawbacks of integrating or integration of FEM and additive manufacturing processes?
No, if whenever we are going to integrate something, always we have the possibility to explore the uneven whatever we have not explored. So always it's going to give the something more fruitful. There is not,
Yes,
it is going to limit the application. Whenever you are integrating something, means if we have some weakness in one process and strength in one process, we are going to utilize the weakness and strength of the each and both processes to improve the whole process. Now,
Yes.
sir, can you mute me for 1 minute?
Yes, yes. You can take it.
So always integration is we are doing for the utilization of weakness and strength of each individual process and come out with the more improved one. So always give the benefit, not any, it not induce any limitation. Hope the answer of the question.
Sir, I am asking of you about the slicing that you have shown,
Mhm.
top and bottom and combined approach.
Okay.
How we can apply it in the actual manufacturing?
Yes, you need to go for your, see, this is the some sort of different type of slicing procedure. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
based on your requirement, for example, you are going to utilize this product in such condition where the geometrical requirement is very high, means we cannot go for the deviation. So what we can do, we can create a oversized part and then we are going to remove these extra features. Okay.
Okay.
So one thing is that how we are going to utilize these features, how we are going to get the combined slicing process. In usually we have the bottom up, top down slicing procedure in most of the software. So this is the matter of the research. Those who are interested in doing the research, they need to develop by program by themselves, and
Okay.
then you can utilize it. Like if more those who are interested, they can go through my papers. I have developed this slicing procedures, ASME paper, ASME conference paper, ASME. Okay. So might be in 2016. I have gone for this ASME conference. So those who are interested, they can go through my profile and download this paper where I have discussed each and every step how to implement. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Anybody has any question about this particular presentation? Any more queries from the participant side? I think, sir, nobody is asking anything. So now, so we will finish this session. So you can stop your sharing your screen. So thank you very much, Dr. Mohammad Tawfiq sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver such a nice talk. We have covered for all the fundamental aspects of this 3D printing, right from and you have shown a very illustrative and demonstrative videos which we have not seen, and we all are very new to this one. Might be some other participants are working on this additive manufacturing and 3D printing area, but this is new for me and some other participants also. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for taking time and when delivering such a nice talk in our esteemed FDP at LNCT Bhopal. Thank you much. We will look forward to invite you for the our next and coming technical programs at LNCT Bhopal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. If anyone have any doubt, they can contact me.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
I will share your contact details with the participants. Thank you, sir. So you can leave if you want to leave. Now the next session will start by 2 p.m. Okay. So you can join by 2 p.m.